Hello friends. So today's video is going to be a try a volume style wrap up. The idea is that over on my channel's community tab, I had 5 different manga for you all to vote on, and then the top 3, I would try reading between 1 and 3 volumes of each of those manga, and that would help me determine which one I wanted to pick up next. There's some that I plan on picking up soon regardless, and then there's others where there's so many different ones that I want to get around to that this way it allows you all to kind of have a little bit of a say in what gets picked up when and what gets picked up next, but then also allows me to get an idea of which of these do I like the most, which one do I want to maybe save for later, and which one do I want to devour right now. The top 3 for this particular poll, we had Tokyo Ghoul was the #1 choice, and then we had the Ancient Magus Bride, and then also Girl from the Other Side. Girl from the Other Side I was planning to pick up a while ago, and then just had some other things come up first, but I really was hoping that it would end up being voted on pretty highly, and I was so glad it was. Of these 3, from what I understand, I believe Tokyo Ghoul is the most popular, not just among the ones that you voted on, but I think in general it's a very popular manga. So I kind of expected that one to win. I was thinking about saving this one for the fall, but I was just kind of getting an itch to start it. So I'm also excited that that one won within those top 3. And just to clarify, in that poll, I did say I would try to get around the first 1 to 3 volumes of each of these, but I ended up getting sick. You can probably still hear it in my voice. So I only ended up reading 1 volume of each of these. But there's one in particular that I will absolutely be reading more of. I'm going to read everything that's out. I already checked out the more recent volumes from the library that I don't have in my possession just yet. And then one I am fine saving for later. And then one, I don't know, we'll see. I might pick it up sooner rather than later. So getting into my thoughts on these. I'll start with Tokyo Ghoul. This was my least favorite as far as the first volume goes of these 3 particular manga. Tokyo Ghoul starts off just sort of setting up what the entire story is about. There are ghouls among us, living among us, and they look and act like humans, but they actually eat human flesh. It is the only thing that they can stand to eat, aside from drinking coffee, as you discover. But our main character is somebody who was being attacked by a ghoul, and this was likely going to be a death sentence for him, as he was so much weaker than this individual. They caught him by surprise, and then through some turn of events, the ghoul ends up dying, and he was gravely injured. And when paramedics arrived on the scene, they saw a person who was dead and somebody who was going to be dead soon if they did not get new organs. And so they decided, well, we have somebody with the same blood type right here. We'll use their organs to keep him alive. They don't realize that the person whose organs they're using was a ghoul. And now our main character is starting to experience some ghoulish-like symptoms, and he is starting to hate the way everything tastes, and there is a certain hunger that cannot be satiated by anything, and he knows likely what it could be satiated by, but yet does not want to end up committing to that. And you are seeing him try to fight it, and that's kind of what you're getting in the first volume. It is the plot of the story, so this first volume, that's what you're getting. You're getting the setup for this plot. And I know a lot of times that's going to be the case. It's like reading the first chapter of a book or first couple of chapters. The reason that so far it's my least favorite of the 3 is that our main character doesn't have a ton of personality yet. His personality is kind of, I got attacked by a ghoul, and also I like books. And I was looking for a little bit more. I am hopeful though, because the other side characters seem to have quite a bit of personality already, especially our main character's friend. He is somebody who seems like a cinnamon roll and just kind of happy-go-lucky goofball. And so that makes me excited. It's possible that he's just kind of a louder character, and that's why he stands out, and our main character's more introverted, and maybe it's going to take time to get to know him. So I'm not writing this one off at all. I'm not saying I hated it or anything like that. It just happened to be my least favorite of these 3 because I think these 3 were all very good. I do think this one had maybe the most skillful art. I really did like the art in this quite a lot, and I'm not sure if I know how to even describe why I feel this way, but the art reminded me of a lot of comic book art. It felt like it was supposed to be in color, and I don't say that as an insult. I mean that as a compliment, and that's not to say that I think other manga art is less than comic book art. They're both great. Comic book art and manga art are all fantastic. There's something about it that it seemed like I guess in a way, it almost seemed like it was vivid, even without the color filled in. I'm so sorry for this stupid strand of hair that keeps getting in my face. And if it's annoying you, guess what? It's annoying me too. So apologies. But anyway, so I liked the art. That's what I'm getting at. And I don't really know what I'm saying when I'm trying to describe what I mean by this art. It just felt alive, I guess. So I thought the art was absolutely fantastic. And when I mentioned the side characters having personality, I like where we leave off and the potential of some other characters becoming more of a focus. And for us to, now that we've had the main plot established, to get to know the character. What I'm afraid will happen is what I experienced with Solo Leveling, where the first volume I was expecting this introduction, and then I was expecting to start to get more depth, and instead it just kind of turned into Coolness Volume 2, Coolness Volume 3. I held up a 1 the first time, but I meant like the volume after the first one. Coolness Volume 2, Coolness Volume 3. It just felt like, let's be cool, and let's be even cooler, and let's level up some more, and then now let's be even cooler now. And I kept waiting for there to be more to it, and maybe eventually there will be, but I wasn't really that invested. So I really hope that doesn't happen with Tokyo Ghoul. I hope that I can continue on and that I can get to know these characters. I can get to learn more about the Ghoul customs, because you get a glimpse of that in this first volume. And in general, I just am excited to see where the plot goes now that we have established the foundation. So those are my thoughts on Tokyo Ghoul. Without spoiling, of course, you can let me know if you think I'm going to be very pleased with what happens next, or if you think perhaps I won't love what comes next. I'm still planning to pick up more, but I would just love to get your insight. After that, we're going to go with the second one that I liked in this list of 3, and that would be the Ancient Magus' Bride. This one has a fantastic world. The magic in this is so interesting and cool. I like that you have both alchemy and you have the mages, and I like the way that their magic is different from one another, and I like that you get the explanation. And then just how many magical beings you're already coming into contact with within this first volume. I was really impressed with how much was within this first volume, especially after reading Tokyo Ghoul, where I'm like, when is he going to accept that he is obviously part ghoul now? It's very obvious, and I know it's good that he's taking time, because it would take time to accept that, but I was like, okay, I know this is where it's going, and it's just, we're kind of just waiting till we get there, whereas this one, it was like, let's have a bunch of stuff happen in volume 1. The only thing that thus far is kind of making me raise my eyebrow. So the setup, we follow this young girl who's 15, and the very beginning of the story, she's being sold, and this individual buys her, and he buys her to be his apprentice. He's somebody that knows a lot about magic and alchemy, and so he's buying her to become his apprentice, and he seems like he's going to be very nice, and it seems like she's had a very difficult life thus far, and so maybe finally she's catching a break. Somebody's going to treat her with kindness. And then he's like, and also, by the way, you're going to be my bride at some point. And she's like, huh? And he says it very strangely, like he's just pretending at being a person, or a person-like being. So it's hard to tell if he's serious, or if he even knows what being married entails, or if he's just kind of like, that's the thing people do. I need a wife. I don't know. It's hard to tell because he treats her kind of like a kid. So that part's very odd. And I'm hoping that as we progress, it gets less weird and that we get some explanation, because she's still kind of thinking, I don't know what he's talking about. And he even tells her, we have to get ready for our honeymoon. And they haven't really done anything yet. I don't know. It's very weird. But the dynamic between them, if you take that part out, they're nice. He's nice to her. And it's nice to see somebody who clearly has suffered being treated kindly. So I want the kindness to keep going. I hope it keeps going. And I hope their relationship is sweet. Anyway, so that aside, I do think that there are glimpses of her backstory and her trauma and the way it is impacting her. There's a really, really, really beautiful passage where she meets with some dragons, and the dragons are so cute. They were my favorite part of this. And I'm making it sound like it was an entire arc, but it was just a small section of this first volume. But the dragon says something along the lines of, I'm glad that you chose not to fly when you didn't have wings, kind of hinting at her likely wanting to join her mother who has passed away, wanting to be with her. And I just thought that passage was so sweet, but also so tragic at the same time. But there was just such a loveliness in seeing this magical, sweet dragon being there for this person. I don't know. It was very cute, and it got me. I really liked that passage. And just the way that the magic with the dragons works and the different kinds of dragons that there are, I just am really loving all of the, I guess, just escaping to this world. It's our own world, but there's a lot more magic. So there's fairies. Cats have 9 lives, so with each life they become more intelligent and clever, and they can talk, and they have their own royalty and things like that. So I really, really like the world thus far. And this relationship is cute if you just take out the weird bride part. So we'll see. I am excited to keep going. I like the world. I really like, it would seem like the touching on some mental health type of things that we're getting so far. So I did like it. Just kind of with that asterisk. And then Girl from the Other Side is perfect. I loved this. This is going to be a new favorite, and I only read the first volume. But oh my gosh, the teacher is so sweet and so lovely and so conflicted with the information that he has and telling it to the little girl in this story, Shiva, who is precious. The part where she tries tea without sugar and she's like, ugh. She's just so cute, and she just tries to be a good girl, and she's just a little mischievous, and he's so sweet with her, and you could tell he greatly cares for her. And the difference is pretty stark, especially reading them back to back between this one and the other two. In that Tokyo Ghoul, it's like, let's establish the plot. And then Ancient Magus' Bride, it's like, you were purchased, now let's have a couple of missions almost, a couple of quests that we go on. So a lot's happening already. And this one, the first volume, you're like, what's going on? And that's the first volume, is I don't know what's going on. But you're just kind of following them in their day-to-day, and you're getting hints of this mysterious world. And maybe I just prefer a slower start and being kept in the dark a little bit longer. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just that this particular story does it so well. But I love it, and I can't wait. My husband has read ahead, and he said, you're going to like it even more the more you go. So I cannot wait. We have this bind-up and then the next bind-up that matches it, and then I have the next 3 volumes after that from the library. So I plan to keep on going with this one. I love it so much. The art is so interesting in that it's almost very minimal, but messy. And then some other things are very, very crisp. There's not a whole lot of shading necessarily. It's very black and white. And when I was talking to my husband about it, I was describing it as almost seems like it belongs in a newspaper. And he said, oh, like Peanuts, like the Peanuts cartoons. And I was like, yeah, it strangely almost looks like that. But something about it makes it so much more chilling and impactful. I don't know what it is. Because it's not what I was describing with Tokyo Ghoul about how it looks so skillful and there's so much to it. This one, it's so simple, but it's captivating. I didn't mention the art for the Ancient Magus Bride. I like the art in that one too, and I think all the creatures, I love how all of them are drawn, and the designs for the fairies and such things. So art has been great for all of these. I've really enjoyed it. So overall, Girl from the Other Side, likely going to be a new favorite, likely going to be another one I don't shut up about because it's so good. The Ancient Magus' Bride I could see being one that I really, really, really end up liking as I go, and Tokyo Ghoul I'm still kind of like, I gotta read more to see. As far as what I'm going to pick up, likely for sure. Likely for sure is a little bit of an oxymoron. But the Girl from the Other Side, obviously, you can tell by how I'm talking about it. The other two, I will pick up more. I just don't know when. I have quite a few other things I have to get around to. I've read some of Golden Kamuy and loved it. So I will likely be reading more of that. But then, of course, I have so many other things that I want to get around to this quarter, including some comics, because I slacked on my comic book reading for the first quarter of the year. So I got to get around to those, but those would be my thoughts of these, and I would love to know your thoughts. I would love to know if you feel similarly, if you feel differently, what are your thoughts on the artwork, that sort of thing. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will definitely have another poll here in the future, and I'll do this style of video again because it was such a great way to get introduced to these stories. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.